Oh, we're live. Hi.
It's not spinning anymore.
It's not spinning anymore. Hi, Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk with Chris Godinez. This is just Manny. We are going to be talking about staying sane and safe during the holidays so that you don't tank yourself with your diet or your exercise. But before we dive into that, I've got some housekeeping to take care of. So if you are interested, oh, good God, in purchasing these books, I've got both of them falling on the floor. Thank you.
Here,
There you go. So we've got What's Wrong with Your Dad and You Can Lead a Horse to Water, but You Can't Make him Cha-Cha, both available on Amazon and on Audible. Also, if you are interested in going to the lecture and the book signing in Honolulu, I need you guys to sign up so I can get an accurate head count so I know how many people are going to be at the venues and how many books I'm going to bring. So please go to Eventbrite. So Mercury Eventbrite, sign up there. Don't just tell me in the comments, oh, I'm going to show up, because that's not going to count. I need you guys to sign up there for the lecture and the book signing tour. Also, I'm going to be into, okay, so that's going to be Honolulu, November 10th. And then, I know, I can't wait. And then Tacoma, Washington. Yeah, why they couldn't do that in the summertime, I have no idea. Tacoma, Washington, December 1st. So please go to Eventbrite and sign up for that so I can get an accurate head count out of all of that. Also, if you guys could pretty please, sweetheart darlings, loves of my lives, please stop emailing Chris questions because he doesn't see them in a timely manner and I won't get them for weeks. So Chris's Mercury address is really to just let him know where you want me to show up next for a lecture and a book signing. So please stop emailing him questions. If you have questions, you can always email me, or not email me. You can always IM me on Facebook, on either my LPC page or on my We Need to Talk page. So those are the two pages to go to send questions if you have them. All right, wait, I got to think of, there's more things I need to say. Please don't friend me on Facebook, guys. On my personal page, I will not friend you back. If you want to connect with me, it's my LPC page or it's the We Need to Talk page, okay? Okay. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up. Click on that and we'll have all the therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone, or Jess's and Jess's alone, or mine and Jess's alone, and nobody else's. And it's not the APA, the ACA, or any other freaking therapist for that matter. Okay, there we go. I did it.
Okay, we're ready.
We're ready. So, hi guys, thank you. Hi guys, so Jess is my trainer. Jess is my personal trainer. He's amazing, and we're coming into the holiday season, and we wanted to talk about how to stay on track with the holidays, because basically it starts from now until when? You were saying like February.
Yeah, well, so it starts now when you start dipping into the Halloween candy jar, and it doesn't end until probably after your second Super Bowl party, which is in the February now.
Right, so
you're talking,
the end of February.
You're talking 4 months of
eating,
food,
stuff. Family.
Too much. Family drama. Stress. Food. More yes. Stress.
So we went. This is just Manny, guys. Did I not introduce him? This is just Manny. He's my trainer. So he's awesome. And you are Army.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
18 years in.
18 years in. You're still doing it, which is amazing. You don't look that old. So anyway, oh, hi, Poland. So if you guys have nutrition questions, this is the guy to ask, or exercise questions. This is the guy to ask. So, okay. So what we're talking about today is how to stay safe and sane with food, with exercise during the holidays. So you wanted to talk a little bit about why people go south with their eating or south with their exercise.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of it's structure, right? So everything we do as humans are very structure-oriented animals, right? So it's all about habitual things we do. So now we go, okay, we're going to start eating candy because I'm only eating the mini size ones, and we don't think that's a big deal. But when you eat 10 of them,
that's a huge deal.
That's like 5 Snickers versus one like little mini one, right? When they add up.
And so you gotta look at the nutrition on the back.
Yeah.
And people don't, because we're like, oh, it's just a small one. I'm not gonna be eating that much.
And that's the big thing. Ignorance is bliss. So if you're committed to your fitness or your body or your wellness or whatever, your mental health, any of that stuff, you have to educate yourself. So if you really learn what you're eating, no matter how small or how big it is, if you do some education, self-educate, you're going to go, wow, that's a lot of calories. And then obviously, times that by 10 or whatever you're eating, that's where the problem starts, because now you start building that habits of that. And then now things you talk about of stress with, family and all this stuff happens through the holidays. Well, the heightened stress, well, now food can become a reward, right?
Right.
So when you eat that food as a reward, so there's always that cue of a habitual nature, like, oh, I'm stressed. So if your cue is I'm stressed and you give yourself the reward as food, now you got to do that 1 or 2 or 3 more times. Now you're building habit.
Right.
So something else. I mean, I tell people, like, when you get stressed, you could hit your head on the wall. And after every time getting stressed, you keep hitting your head on the wall. Well, you're going to have a big goose egg on your head, but it's everybody's habitual.
That's one way to go unconscious.
Yeah. And after some point, you're going to go, oh, I'm so stressed. Where's the wall?
Where's the wall?
I mean? Food's the same way. I mean, I know I'm being funny, but
no, the funny is good.
Food is the same aspect. It's like, as soon as you get in that position that you're stressed or bored, sometimes people eat out of boredom. As soon as you go to that and you give yourself that reward, that cue has happened. So next time that happens, you'll do it without even thinking.
Yes.
Now it becomes some subconscious.
It becomes subconscious. Yeah. So we have a question about veganism. What do you think about eating more vegetarian, less meat? That's going to be a huge.
Well, I mean, clean foods. That's the thing. Like, so now when we talk about holiday eating, we're like, the acronym we use at YFit is JERF, just eat real food.
Right.
So think of all the things that are at every holiday party you go to. Nothing's real food anymore. It's altered. It's from a box of baking goods that people make together or whatever, or it's something that's just been altered from its natural state. So if it comes from the earth, from a tree, or from an animal, or from grows in the ground or something, eat it and eat as much as you want of it. But that aspect of when we talk about what to eat through the holidays, well, we're eating a lot of processed foods, a lot of high sugars because of the baking goods.
I think it's more high sugars, honestly. It's like, because when I think of, like, Halloween through, like, Christmas or New Year's, it's like it's all just pure sugar and fat.
Yeah,
that's really what I mean. It's like divinity and chocolate and chocolate chip cookies and
not real stuff. It's altered sugar. It's trans fats. It's nothing that's good for the human body because it's not in a natural state.
Right. Exactly. So basically, eat as many vegetables as you want. It's important to make sure you get a balance so that you have protein of some sort coming in. I don't care if it's vegetable based or not, but just make sure you're getting protein, because we do need protein as human beings, and especially if you're working out. So there is that. Okay, so habit. Talk to me about habits. How long do you think it takes to become a habit, doing bad habits or good habits?
Well, the old saying is 21 days, right?
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I would say it probably takes a little bit longer than that, but that's where the habitual nature starts in. So we always say at YFit for people, like, an object in motion stays in motion. So we could talk about nutrition all day long, but if you're not active, you're not going to burn those calories, and the calories are going to go somewhere and they're going to get stored as fat, even if it's good food. So, I mean, we want to eat healthy, but also the other side to match that is you have to stay moving. So it's just general physics. An object in motion stays in motion. So if you build a habitual aspect of being active, you'll build that habit of staying active. Or if you sit on the couch and watch Netflix marathons every weekend, you're not going to get in that habitual nature of moving. So like, talking about habit, I would say 21 days, which is a little less than a month, but we could probably say a month is you start building that stuff that there's going to be some reward out of it. So people go, oh, I hate working out. Well, when you work out, you're always going to feel better afterwards, even if you said you hated it before you did it, because there's natural endorphins and everything releasing from your brain. So if you did that for 21 days or longer, even if you still said to yourself, I don't like it, you do like it, because you wouldn't keep doing it because you're getting the response or the reward out of it.
Which is where I'm going to slip in the cognitive behavioral therapy. So you've got to be careful about what you tell yourself. So if you're telling yourself, I hate working out, oh my God, why am I doing this? Your body's going to go, hey guys, she hates working out. Let's just stay on the couch and watch Netflix. So you don't want to do that. It's like, even if you're not crazy about working out or just eating healthy, I think it's really, really important to make sure you check what you're telling yourself as you are changing your diet or working out or, doing whatever. So it's really, really important to watch what you're saying to yourself about eating healthy. So one of the biggest things I've noticed is that when people start changing the way that they eat, so like when you taught us how to eat, and, we just went with it because we were like, we're tired of being fat and old. So it's like,
whatever motivates you.
Yeah, absolutely. But I noticed that some people, when they start trying to adjust their diet or work on that thing, it's like, they're so addicted to the processed foods, and especially the sugar.
Absolutely.
That it's real, and the carbohydrates. Somebody mentioned that earlier. Sugar and carbohydrates, I think, are the two hardest ones. Like, it's almost like a drug.
Well, carbohydrates, which sugar is a carbohydrate, when you eat it, it burns up fast and it raises your insulin. Well, when your insulin rises, it makes you more hungry.
Right.
So you want to be hungry all the time, just keep eating more carbohydrates. In the fitness world, we look at carbohydrates as fuel. The more active you are, the more carbs you're going to need.
Right.
But a lot of us aren't Michael Phelps. We're not swimming for 8 hours a day. So we don't need a lot of carbohydrates. So when you eat carbohydrates when you're not active, you're just going to get more hungry.
Right.
So when you're hungry again, what are you going to look for? More carbs.
More carbs.
You know, and then sugar is like carbs that are twice as fast producing in the body, that kind of dissolve really fast, really spike the blood sugar. So, and blood sugar has an addictive nature in the brain. So cocaine and sugar
same area,
are the same area of your brain, same response. So,
isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So
it's no wonder.
So people could say, I'm not addicted to sugar. Yeah, you are.
Hi, my name's Chris. And I'm addicted to sugar.
Well, you probably used to be.
I used to be. I'm not anymore.
But if you have sugar, and it's habitual, you're going to build an addiction to it. And it's just like anybody that's ever tried to quit smoking or do anything that's very detrimental and very something they use as a crutch, it's very hard to break.
Well, and especially, isn't it like the carb flu? Is that what you called it? When I stopped eating all of the carbs, because I was pre-diabetic before I started with him. Now I'm not, thank you, Jesus. But when I started with him, I had to give up all the carbs, and I was eating, God, how many carbs a day? I was like ridiculous amount.
2/3 more than what
two-thirds more of what I should have been. So when I stopped, it was kind of a weird feeling because my body was like, wait a minute, I'm used to all these carbs. What the heck are you doing? I don't feel good. It is. It was exactly like withdrawals. Somebody had a really good question. When you're dealing with somebody who is disabled and can't walk very far, what exercises do you give them to do for cardio?
Whatever's in their limitations. They just have to move somewhat. Okay. And obviously we know we've talked before about like the disabled veterans that are in our nonprofit program that, I mean, some of them are amputees and stuff like that. We just, whatever it can, like, and sometimes people are elderly, there's limits. I mean, we have to keep moving whatever those limits are. We just got to find those and make sure we don't overstep those limits.
Right. And it's really, really important that if you can't walk or you can't do lower body stuff, then you can do stuff with the upper body. Absolutely. I know at my gym, they've got a thing that you can do to get the heart rate going up using your arms.
Yep.
It's just important to move. And as we age, and I'm finding this one out, it's like, what do you mean I'm not 17 anymore, body? What are you doing? As we age, it's stretching. Hugely important, like ginormous. And especially if you sit all day long. Now, here's the funny thing. You walk how many steps a day, did you say?
26,000.
26,000. I did 13,000 when I was at the Queen Mary, and I was all proud of myself. And I was like, Jess, I did 13,000. He's like, that's nice, kid. I did 26,000.
Average.
Like, fuck you. So, but it's really important that you get those steps in or you get that cardio in and you're stretching and you're moving your body and you're not just sitting for 8 hours a day. It's important to get up every, hour or two maybe?
At least.
At least. And walk around, do a stretch, do something. Because otherwise muscles, believe it or not, start atrophying in your IT bands, which is what happens to people that, sit all day long. So super important to do that. Okay, so food, exercise. Okay, exercise distracts me from my problems. I love exercise. I find it very meditative.
Yeah, it's stress relief.
It's a stress relief. And you have to change the way you think about it. So I think the biggest problem for me when I started is when I was a little kid going to elementary school, we had the dumb jocks PE teachers, who were like, you guys are loud. Drop and give me 20. I want you to run around the track. And they were just assholes. And so they used exercise as a punishment. So in my head, I'd always connected exercise with punishment.
Perception, whatever perception is.
Exactly. And so it wasn't until I started with Jess where I was like, this is actually kind of fun. So change the way you think about exercise, change the way you think about food. If food is your comfort thing, I need you to start looking at something else to comfort you, like, I don't know, swimming maybe, or maybe working out on a treadmill or one of the elliptical thingies, or something, or the rowing. I like the rowing.
Anything. Anything. So food is like all our perception. So people go, okay, I want to eat that cupcake because that looks really good and it's fancy and it's got all kinds of cool stuff on the top and it smells really good. But if we educate ourselves and know like nutritionally what that really is, that's like pouring like crappy gas in your gas tank of your car. Yeah. Which if I was out in your parking lot right now pouring that in your car, you'd freak out on me. Like, what are you doing putting that crap in my car? Yeah, that's what we do with lot of processed foods and sugar. So it's kind of the, like we say, ignorance is bliss. If you don't know what you're eating, you're just going to have some type of emotion or perception of what that is and what it's doing to you. So, and I always use the car analogy, because people, as soon as their cars don't run right, they run right down to the auto mechanic and say, hey, we fix this, because it's kind of my lifeline. It gets me to work and back. But we don't do that with our bodies, which is way more important than our cars out in the driveway. Exactly. You know? So we take care of our cars more than we take care of our bodies, which if you don't take care of your body, you're not going to be able to drive a car. You know, it's like, so think of it that way. So it's whatever perception in your mind, which we deal with a lot of stuff with mental perceptions here, especially the things you talk about, it's whatever you tell yourself.
Scotty, hang on,
you're gonna believe.
Dog is interrupting the show. He's like, do you guys have any food? You're talking about food. Do you have any food?
You said cupcake.
You said cupcake. Where's the cupcake? Okay, so basically, so in responding to the other questions, I can walk, my back and legs just give out easily. I've had several surgeries. So I really want you to talk to your doc and see what is okay with them that you do, because you always want to make sure that you don't do anything that's going to, Scotty, really, really, thank you. He's playing Baba now, because Baba used to do this. So you don't want to do anything that's going to aggravate your back issues, especially if you've had several surgery. And that's something I'd like to talk about. Now, you've had tons of stuff happening to your back, but you stay active. You've done things to make sure that your muscles support.
They wanted to operate on my spine because I have a cervical spine injury. So they wanted to operate in 2009 on it. And I'm like, okay, no, because I mean, back injuries, surgery, sometimes there's no going back from that. Sometimes you come out worse than you are when you went in. So diet and exercise has kept me out of the operating room for, 8+ years now. So,
which is awesome.
Which, like somebody just said, hey, this happens to me when I do this. Well, with my neck injury, I have to find my own limitations to make sure I don't overwork those.
Yeah. And when I started with Jess, my right knee, it would lock, I could bend it, but then it wouldn't straighten out, which is kind of a scary thing to have happen. But as we started working on, the stretching and the lifting weights and building the muscles around it and all of that, I have not had a problem. And I've been with you for a year and a half now, almost 2 years. So it's really, really important to do what you can to build the strength of the muscles around the area that's having the problem. But do check with your doctor to make sure that you're clear to do exercise and that you're clear to do, lifting weights and things like that. Because if you've got neck and back issues and you can't lift weights, then don't. So
and look at exercise and nutrition as a reward. Like it is a personal reward. It's time. It's actually when you're taking time out of your life and treating yourself. So a lot of times moms are busy and people spend too much time giving to other people in their family or at work or their career or whatever. But I mean, fitness and exercise, I mean, it is selfish in a good way because you are taking care of you, which is important.
Exactly. What are some ways to get exercise that utilize bilateral stimulation, and and would that kind of exercise help to process emotional memories or experiences? That I don't know.
Well, any movement is going to get, so like when you move the human body, you're going to release all kinds of endorphins. You're stimulating your natural hormones. So you're breaking the body down, but it's going to want to rebuild into something better. So any type of movement, like, I mean, people do recreation stuff all the time that they don't consider exercise, but it is because it's moving the body. I mean, any movement you can do is better than none because you're releasing so much stuff.
Well, and Tai Chi is great. I love Tai Chi. It's very meditative. Yoga, you do Yoga Nidra, I think it is.
Yeah, and that's more sound healing yoga. It's not much movement. But it's still stimulating the brain and stuff. So anytime you can do any type of movement between your brain wave patterns / body or connect the two. I mean, there's nothing bad can happen. Only good can happen.
Exactly. So, so I hope that answered that question. Scotty, really? Thank you. He's just like, love you. Okay. How do you feel about intermittent fasting?
Oh, actually, that's on my notes. I have right
there we go.
So,
okay, Scotty, come here. You talk. I'm going to take Scotty back to the bedroom. Come here, buddy.
So fasting, we can research all the time that people say it's really, really good or really, really bad. But when we look at fasting, we're kind of tapping into the body's natural survival mechanisms. So if we don't need to do that, let's not do that. And then when we talk about holiday eating, we can really talk about fasting. People love to skip meals to save for the big meal coming up. That's probably the worst thing you can do. So your metabolism lowers when you skip meals. So your metabolism is really, really low when you go into that holiday dinner and your stomach is growling and you're going to gorge yourself with food. Well, you're eating such high dense calories that all of it's going to get shoved to the body fat cells because of the fact that the body's kind of in that starvation defensive mode, which it goes, okay, I need to pack on extra weight here because I don't know if I'm going to get fed again because you skipped 2 meals. So it's actually very detrimental to do fasting in the holiday season. Now, fasting can help you in an athletic nature. So sometimes athletes, when they're using a lot of calories and a lot of storage, sometimes that works. And that's where a lot of the fasting comes from online. People are like, oh, I'm going to do fasting and stuff. But if you're not that active of a person, I really don't recommend fasting at all. So you eat clean foods, you eat foods periodically, and you keep the body moving, and you're going to see tons and tons of results. So,
right. Yeah, because I know that really a better idea for that big, holiday meal, like Thanksgiving, because I always go all out for Thanksgiving. I'm so bad during Thanksgiving.
All of us are.
It's like turkey and mashed potatoes and my spinach dip and all of this stuff. So instead of just fasting so that you can enjoy more, I really recommend eating a relatively healthy, light little breakfast, a light little lunch.
Just eat normal.
Eat normal. Have a couple of handfuls of walnuts or something, and then have your meal. And that way you'll be less tempted to go have seconds, thirds, and fourths.
Yeah, which is super detrimental. And if it's a psychological effect that food is a reward, you're indulging in that. So we're stimulating body fat storage because we're overeating, and we're clicking the mental aspect of addiction and habitual stuff. So, I mean, it's just, I always say, like in fitness or in our health of what we do for our bodies, mental and physical wellness, let's say, we can either kick over the black dominoes or the white ones, which the black ones are going to be bad, and they're just going to keep going down the road, and they're all going to chain react to each other. So you have to do something to be able to stop and kick over the white ones to make sure we're going in the right direction, which can be positive in a habitual nature. So, so you could use holiday overeating and invoke depression big time because of the fact that you're doing those negative stimulations that keep happening over and over and over and over. So.
Right. And how much on average do people gain between now and February?
Yeah. Average is between the holiday season, like it goes up each year, but you're talking like average is like 22 pounds now.
Thanks.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it comes on easy, but it's very hard to take off. So now, think of and I'm from the Midwest. So if anybody lives in the part of the world that gets cold over the winter time, I mean, you're not as active as cold. You want comfort food because you want warm food and stuff like that. So now you put on weight throughout the winter, through holiday season. Now you get motivated when enough is enough. So end of March or April, you're like, okay, I can't fit in my pants, and you get mad, and that's when people make change. Well, they'll work for months and months and months and months and months to get all that weight off that comes off slow. Well, guess what? Bam! Oh, it's Halloween time again, and there's the candy dish again. So it's kind of this revolving cycle, which could build a lot of negative effects of how you perceive nutrition, yourself, and exercise. So, I mean, if somebody really wants to commit and be healthy, it's a full-time job. It's a day-to-day thing.
It is.
And does that mean when you go to the holidays, can you have a little bit more? Absolutely. But that's but
not a lot more.
Yeah.
It's not like
not every day, not every day,
meal, not for a whole week straight,
not for 4 months.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously moderation is the key, but it's and on my notes here, the last thing I have is commitment. Right. If you're super committed to yourself, of your health and wellness, I mean, you got to be able to start looking at it okay, what are my actions doing to me? There's going to be always a reward, but there's always a price. Okay, the reward is the pecan pie or whatever. It smells and tastes really, really good. Right. That's the reward that I'm getting from it. But what's the price am I going to pay for it? Well, it's very dense calories. It's super high sugar. It's going to spike my insulins. If I'm pre-diabetic, it's just going to feed that more. If I have habitual eating addictions, it's going to, you have to kind of weigh it out, that risk versus gain and what you're doing with your life, your health, the decisions you're making. So humans were so habitual that we just go through the motions. Right. And we just eat and we do things and we think things and we say things and we never think about the repercussions. But fitness, if we can take a step back and kind of analyze our actions, we can kind of see really where our projection is going and what type of results and goals we're going to get in the future. Exactly.
So also with holidays too, if you're having to go visit family and the family is maybe toxic, let's say, or they are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, or people you don't really want to be around, but you kind of have to because they're family and all that sort of stuff, the stress levels go up. And when stress levels go up, it's our amygdala doing this. It's like, oh my God, I'm in danger, I'm in danger, I'm in danger, right? And
drink more wine.
Yeah, drink more. No. Or eat more chocolate chips,
That's what people do at holiday parties.
Yeah, they get stressed out. Or it's like because people stuff anger. What I've noticed is that if they really don't like somebody, they'll stuff something in their mouth so that they don't say something instead. So it's really, really important that you honor what you're thinking and feeling. Recognize that the amygdala is stupid. It cannot tell the difference between a real threat and a family threat kind of thing. It's like, yes, it's uncomfortable around them, but you're not going to die, hopefully. So, although in some families you never know, but it causes the brain to release cortisol. So it tells the body, oh my God, we're in danger. We need to get ready to fight, flee, freeze, or fawn, give in. So that means that our cortisol level is going to be huge. Our ears and our shoulders are going to be becoming one with each other, which is not a good idea. And the cortisol causes us, to hang on to every single ounce of fat that we put on our body because
produce more.
Yeah.
Cortisol makes you produce more.
Yeah, because we are in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, and the body is going, oh my God, we're in danger, we're gonna die, we're not gonna have enough food, saber-tooth tiger, and it just starts packing on the pounds. So
yeah.
So stress. So during the holidays, in order to not eat, because I know, like you said, it's like people use it as a comfort or they use it as a reward. I would strongly suggest checking out the area that you're going to be going to visit, especially if you're flying somewhere else. See if there's a gym nearby. Buy a temporary gym membership. That's what I do when I have to travel. And if my gym does not cover where I am, I just go buy a day pass. And yeah, it's sometimes ridiculously expensive, like $25 a day. I'm like, really, motherfucker?
I pay that all the time.
Yeah.
It's an investment into you. And it's an investment into your own sanity to be able to deal with your family when you travel there. It keeps you moving. So all the additional calories that you're eating that are really not good for the body, at least you're going to move and kind of burn up some of them. So it's very detrimental. If you're going to overeat, do not stop moving.
Right.
If you're going to have problems with that, like it's vice versa. Make sure that you move and keep moving, and you're as conscious as you are or you can be with your nutrition.
Exactly.
But
and if there is no gym, let's say you live out in the middle of, I don't know, Nebraska. I don't know. It seemed pretty vacant when I was there.
Yeah.
But so some place where there's not a lot of cities or things like that, go for a walk if you can. Just keep moving. It's like, and that's a nice thing to do after the dinner or before the dinner is go for a walk and just kind of clear your mind and remind yourself that you're worthy and you don't need to stuff your anger, and you also don't need to necessarily express it, and you don't need to, overeat. So I think that's really important. Could you please give me an explanation of when to build muscle, when to do aerobic, and how do both relate to weight loss, and how endorphins relate to this?
So anytime you move the body, you're going to release endorphins. So if it's cardiovascular or neuromuscular exercise, those are your two energy systems of the human body, are those two. You want to stimulate both. I always tell everybody, there's no such thing as an overactivity or overtraining. There's only undereating. So the more people work out, which I mean, is kind of my lifestyle. It's what I do. It's my career. I work out every day. So I can eat a lot of food, which I have to supplement that back in to be able to make sure I'm building the calories that I burnt up in the exercise. So it's people that exercise a lot, you can eat as much as you want. So, and then the exercise is going to release the endorphins. So actually any exercise at any time is going to be the best thing for you. So if people are exercising and they get hungry, you need to eat. As long as you eat super clean foods, you're going to be absolutely fine. The more you exercise, the more hungry you're going to get, and the more you get to eat. Females, which you know this now, are notorious for undereating. So when they come in our programs, they look at like, whoa, this is a lot of food. And when we look at the activity, and it's not a lot of activity. It's moderate, let's say, for a week, like probably, 6-7 hours of activity over the whole week, right? So you have to supplement that nutrition back in. So that's the key. So cardiovascular activity is really good for burning calories, working the heart, and taking off stored body fat. Neuromuscular is good for breaking down the muscles and rebuilding the muscles into something better, tighter, toner, leaner. And the nutrition is the foundation that holds up both, because neither activity will go anywhere for results if you don't have a nutrition base. Nutrition base, the best results or the best advice I can give that'll yield the best results to anybody is just eat real food.
For sure. Question: how many hours before bed should you stop eating, and how many calories would you suggest? I think that would depend on the person.
Absolutely. So it depends on your activity level. So fitness and food is like a metabolism of how like a campfire burns wood. So if you burn too much wood, your fire is going to go out. So we always recommend that you're going to eat very frequent, right? Just like if you're feeding a campfire, when the wood starts burning down, you're going to put wood on the top of it so it stays efficient, so it doesn't go out. So if you're burning fuel and it's before bed, I eat before I go to bed every night, and I have done for 20 some years, and I'm super lean and I'm in great shape.
Right.
Eating before bed is not bad. That's an old myth, but you have to be active. So let's say, a good general rule, I mean, it's different for everybody, and that's like what I specialize in, is doing independent fitness for everybody. But I would say an average rule would be you can eat every 4 hours, because after 4 hours, your fire would go out. So if your 4 hour mark that you ate dinner around 4:35 and it's 8:30 at night, it's before you go to bed. If you're hungry, you need to eat. If you eat clean, real foods like jerf, you'll be fine. But if you're having a bowl of ice cream, that's going to be very, very detrimental. So I wouldn't even worry about calories. I would worry about if it's clean foods.
Right.
If it's clean foods, you're going to be absolutely fine. But if it's not clean foods, that's when people want to justify, well, it's lower calorie and da-da-da. Calories really don't matter. It's the quality of the food, just like the fuel we put in our car.
Right.
We wouldn't, if there's a gas station we know that has crappy fuel, nobody would shop there. We want clean, absorbable fuel for the body.
High octane.
Yeah.
And your favorite question, alcohol? Question mark?
Geez. Yeah. Which I can imagine, like, sometimes when people are at family functions,
oh God,
they're drinking because they feel uncomfortable.
Absolutely. And you got to be careful of that, guys, for 2 reasons. One, if your family is toxic and you get tipsy around them, loose lips sink ships, remember?
Yeah.
So you don't want to do that, because you don't want to be vulnerable, especially if these people are kind of vultures kind of thing. 1 glass of wine, fine. But if you're doing more than that and you're starting to get tipsy, probably not a good idea. And my recommendation would be just stay away from it altogether. And you're going to explain why.
So this question comes up all the time. I could be out in the street and somebody says, hey, what about alcohol? Alcohol breaks down into an acid in our system, which is an acetate. So when alcohol's in the system, like say, let's have a couple drinks, which we know like calories add up fast when it comes to alcohol. So somebody might say, well, I drink, I'm drinking a straight liquor on the rocks or something that has no calories in it. Well, meaning no calories is calories of protein, carbs, and fats. But when the alcohol breaks down into an acid in our system, there's still a lot of energy there. So there's actually 7 calories per gram of alcohol. So even like a shot of alcohol will have anywhere from 20 to 30 some calories of energy. Now, the problem with that is if you have calories in your system from protein, carbs, and fats of food you ate in the last few hours, when you ingest alcohol, that acid in the system is kind of like a foreign substance. So the human body goes, okay, something's foreign in here. We need to get rid of it. So it uses the acid as your energy source primary, because it's trying to get rid of it because it doesn't want it there. All the extra calories that have been hanging there from lunch or the cupcake you ate or whatever goes right to body fat storage.
Oh, jeez.
So it's not essentially the calories in alcohol, it's the acetate and the acid that alcohol does to your system, because it's very detrimental. And I grew up in Wisconsin. I think I grew up with a Miller can in my hand.
Right.
But
born with a Miller can.
Yeah. So I mean, I get it. I get when people struggle because they're like, well, I like to have a few drinks and stuff. But that's why I talk about the educational aspect. If you educate yourself with it, you're going to go, okay, now, ignorance is not bliss. I can make an educated guess of like, what is the risk? What is the gain of this, or what is the reward or the price I'm going to pay when I have 2 or 3 drinks or something like that? So,
and I think now would be a good time to talk about water intake.
Absolutely.
So instead of alcohol, drink water, and he's going to explain why.
So I do all kinds of fitness speaking all the time, and I always ask people, hey, what percentage of the human body is water?
3/4, I thought.
Well, people say that, or they'll say 72% or 86.5 or whatever, but everybody says something different. But everybody says a lot, right? The human body is like 75 to 80 whatever percent water. So think of what detriment that is when you take that away. I mean, your body's 3/4 water, and then some people don't drink enough water. So it really doesn't matter what you're eating, how much you're exercising, if you're doing cardio, if you're lifting weights, what activity you're doing. If you are, like when we talk about stress and all kinds of stuff in the body, it doesn't matter what you're trying to do to get better. water is like the essential backbone of everything. So anytime somebody comes in our programs, either on our online program or, you know, face-to-face, is the first thing we tackle is the water goal. So people always say, well, how much water? Well, if you're going to be active, you want to drink 60% of your body weight in ounces. Now, if you do the math, most people go, holy crap.
Yeah, no shit.
And perception, I know.
I did.
And perception is everything.
Happen.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah,
so,
perception is everything. So you might go, holy crap. But then after you've lost 30 some pounds and you look amazing.
And I feel great.
And you drink the same amount of water every day, all of a sudden that was holy crap, say 6 months ago, is now actually easy, and it's easy to drink even more than that. So water is it's super, super, super important, and it's so overlooked.
Okay. So, and one thing I want to add to that, because there's a question I want to answer.
I'm drinking water now.
Drink water now, yes. Out of the cup, which is available on eBay, by the way.
These are huge.
Shameless plug.
These are huge. So here's a shameless plug. I use this because this thing is massive. So I use this all the time at home for my bulletproof coffees.
Right.
So when we talk about different things of like good fuel, so one of your best fats you can do is coconut oil. So if you go on Google or Pinterest, you could Google bulletproof coffee, and you just want the recipes. You don't want to buy the brand or whatever. So make whatever you want out of the recipes. There are butter, coconut oil, different ways you can flavor your coffee naturally. It's tons of calories, but really good essential calories that is natural your food. So that's my bulletproof coffee cup.
That's awesome. Yay. Because it's a 20-ounce mug.
It's
so
huge.
So living, it depends on it also where we live. Okay. So like here in Arizona in the wintertime, it gets really dry, really super, super dry. And we don't even realize it because it's so cold outside. Well, cold, relatively speaking. It's 72. My God, pull out the parkas.
Yeah, it's 85 yesterday.
Were you freezing?
No, but
but the point is that, you know, if you live someplace and it doesn't feel hot, or it doesn't, you know, we tend not to drink enough water. So really what I like to do is I like to fill up a mug that I can measure. So I know this is 20 ounces. I'll sit it down on my office desk. I'll drink the first one with the first client, the second one with the second, and I'll just keep drinking it every, you know, and of course I have to run the bathroom a lot, but it's a good thing because I know I'm getting enough water and I can measure it out, and I can at the end of the day go, okay, I got my 120 ounces of water, or I got my, you know, whatever I needed. So, but don't not keep track of it, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's got to be measurable. And that's where ignorance is bliss. Like some people say, I say, how much water do you drink today? They go, tons of water. They add it up. It was 40 ounces.
Yeah.
Like so perception is everything. So if you do your body weight of 60% of that, and then do that in ounces of water, check and see if you're, I mean, that's for somebody that's active. Now, like somebody says, well, I'm not active. Well, I'm not going to convert your numbers because every human should be active to get better results. So.
Right. Okay. So I seem to have issues with overtraining and fatiguing too easily. I had issues with mom severely sleep depriving me for years, leading to chronic fatigue. Any thoughts on why and what could possibly help?
Nutrition's off.
Okay. Nutrition is off.
So you might be eating too many processed foods. Your sugar intake is too high. Everybody says, well, how much sugar? Well, I mean, in a perfect world, none of us would have any processed sugar. Zero. But that's kind of hard to do. So you want to watch what you're eating for, you know, nutrition to make sure you know how much sugar is in there. So I would say you would not want to go over 25 grams of sugar a day. Now, if you drink one soda, you're talking about 60 grams of sugar. Okay.
Yeah.
It's brutal. Like sugar is in everything. Like when you go out to a restaurant, every restaurant now, everywhere, I don't know, like in the United States, I mean, there has to be the nutrition online or somewhere where you can find it. And you look at a steak, like steak and vegetables, right? Low carbohydrates, you know, good, clean meat, whatever. I'm eating a vegetable. And you look at the sugar intake, and the sugar is like 35 grams. Well, where's that coming from? Well, they might be taking the steak and marinating it in brown sugar. It's why it tastes way better at the restaurant than it does when you cook it at home.
That explains things.
You know what I mean? So you gotta, you gotta know what you're eating. So the reason why we're all so addicted to sugar, because it's in everything. Like one of the worst things to eat would be ketchup. Ketchup is all sugar.
I had no idea.
Brutal.
How much sugar was in that until you were like, okay, we're doing 25 grams of carbs. I'm like, fuck.
Of sugar. Like, so you want diabetes?
Yeah, keep eating ketchup. And I used to go through ketchup like nobody's business. So yeah, so you want to educate yourself on the label, read the label, see what the grams of carbohydrates, fats, proteins, sugar, you know, what is all the junk in it. If you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. That would be my
it's got like 17 ingredients. I mean, obviously it's not real.
It's not
anymore.
real. Yeah.
So, and there's some questions there about drinking water with carbonated water. Absolutely fine. Lemon, mint, and I mean, do whatever it takes to be able to find the way you like water. I was just at a friend's house for a party actually the other day, and they were doing carbonated water with balsamic olive oil, with like a flavored oil. So it was like a lemongrass, mint, balsamic olive oil, which they put like a teaspoon in the carbonated water, which it tasted like the best soda ever.
So it's like bulletproof soda kind of thing.
I mean, it was amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, like there's a million different ways to be able to do that. And a lot of times it's just research or getting online to see what other people with committed goals to be having health to see what they're doing.
But you don't want to count caffeinated drinks, right?
Well, caffeine is actually
a diuretic.
Yep, and it's not too bad. You want to talk about being a diuretic is alcohol. Alcohol is a brutal diuretic. So we talked about how important water is. You want to diminish that, drink a lot of alcohol. So, I mean, unfortunately, people that drink a lot of alcohol will never have the fitness goals ever they want. So they're going to have to learn to be able to cut back. So if they have an issue with alcohol, they're going to have to find the root of that, and why they're battling with that. So, but caffeine is a little bit more of a diet, is not as much, but it's still a little bit of a diuretic. So, but caffeine stimulates us. So it's the stimulation of it is going to mess with our adrenal system as well. So everything in moderation is fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's like if you're drinking a lot of caffeine, that's not good either. So
you find out why.
Why are you drinking that much? Are you not able to stay awake? Is there something going on? Are you not getting good sleep? What's happening? What is your sleep like? That's another thing to take a look at when you're starting a new exercise program. It's like, what is your sleep health like? What is your water intake like? What is, what's everything going on around it? Because it all affects everything else. Like, so for example, if I haven't had a good night of sleep and I come in to work out with Jess, I don't perform as well as I normally do. It's like things that I would normally be able to somewhat sort of kind of maybe lift. I'll be like, yeah, that's not happening.
I tell everybody you're not getting in shape when you're in the gym. When you're actually physically active, you're not getting in shape. It's actually when your body's resting and recovering is when your body's rebuilding into something different. So if you're not sleeping well, you will not see the results. So a lot of people have high stress lives because of careers or family or whatever that they'll work out. They're very active, but they don't see the results. First thing we talk about, what's your water intake? What's your sleep habits?
Right. Exactly. Question. I'm looking for ways to fight head hunger suggestions. So in other words, the body's not hungry, but the head's going, oh, we could just go to the break room and have that,
Yeah, get up and do something else. Yeah. It's that habitual nature. So there was a cue in your brain, I'm bored. Well, I can, like the crunchiness or something. It's something you want to do something. What do people that smoke cigarettes, what do they do when they're bored? They light up. So that cue, whenever you have that cue, you have to replace it with something else, like going back to smashing your head on the wall. But
Don't smash your head on the wall.
We won't do that.
That would not be good.
Whatever. Going for a walk or whatever. You know what I mean?
Grabbing a glass of water.
Yeah. Do something to reward that cue, because that cue won't stop. There has to be something to give the reward. And it's just a basic habitual nature of how humans react to things.
So it's also that Freudian kind of thing. So it's like, with the cigarettes, it's the hand stuff, the hand gesture. So what I would do, you're going to laugh. I would take just regular gum, but it had to be the really, really intense tasting gum, like the clove gum kind of thing, because I used to smoke clove cigarettes. And I would, shove about 5 or 6 sticks in there, and then I would roll up the things and I'd pretend I was smoking while I was chewing the gum. And that's how I got through it. And I was completely homicidal for the first month after quitting smoking. I'm telling you, that stuff is terrible.
Yeah.
Holy crap. So if you are smoking cigarettes and you're trying to get off of it, be prepared. You are going to go through withdrawals. You will feel like killing everybody for no reason. So, have a game plan so that you don't backslide and start smoking again, or that you don't replace it with eating, because that's what people do, because it's the motion. It's the, hello, let me throw my hair there. It's the motion. Oh, stop it. It's the motion, it's the eating, it's the oral fixation kind of thing, if you want to get Freudian about it. So, and
you can't break a habit. You only can replace it.
Right. So replace it with something healthy.
With something good.
So if your mind is going, oh, but the break room has got all of those lovely little mini candies in there, go for a walk, grab some water, remind yourself why you are worthy of loving your own body. So really, self-esteem and how we treat our bodies are this. So if you're not taking care of your body, we've got a self-esteem issue somehow going on.
Absolutely.
And you need to remind yourself, you're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy. I don't care what your family said to you. I don't care how they fat shamed you. I don't care what they did to put you down. You've got to put it back on them and remember that you are worthy of taking care of your own body. So do that. Okay.
I would say for self-esteem, if any of us struggle with self-esteem out there, some of the best therapy you can do is exercise.
Yes.
That is, I mean, like that needs to be part of, maybe you look at it as more of a medical thing, as a therapy to yourself to be able to break those negative habits from self-esteem issues, is to be active and to give your body the reward of clean, natural foods. It's very, very therapeutic. And sometimes it's tough. It's tough to get into that habit of it because of the fact that you're not used to it, or that's not what you know, because your body tells you something else. But if you build a habitual nature of self-esteem, of giving your body what it deserves, of food and exercise and rest and water and all those wonderful things. And I'm telling you, there's an addictive quality in that. But when you're on my side of the fence, when you're actually in shape and you feel really good about yourself, your whole life changes. Everybody, how people see you and how you see the world, all of it changes, and it's all for the good. So the best form of therapy for self-esteem issues is diet and exercise.
Absolutely. And I start missing it. Like if for some reason, recently I've been having Achilles tendon issue because I sit too much. And I wasn't able to do the aerobic exercise, and I miss it. It's like, that's the one thing. It's like, I told my doctor, I'm like, we need to fix this because I need to get active again because I've got 2 little gingers that I plan on hiking Diamond Head with. So, and they're going to beat me to the top. I just know it. So anyway, so there is that. So yeah, it does. It becomes, and you miss it. You miss working out. If you don't, you've been doing it consistently, then you suddenly can't. You're like, oh, no, I got to do something else. So find something else. Do something else. So for me, I've been doing yoga. I've been doing downward dog. I've been stretching out all the Achilles tendons. It's still not aerobic necessarily, but it is something until I can get back online. So, okay. Is there a connection between raised testosterone in women and having experienced prolonged abuse? Any ideas on sorting it? Gosh, I have no idea.
So I don't either, but so testosterone levels in female, we have a small level of testosterone, but it's more of, it's a lot of your big hormone, right? So that's why a male would be more aggressive than a female because we have testosterone, right? So that's,
I don't know, I've seen some pretty aggressive females out there.
But the flight of it, let's say people in abuse, are going to have a more heightened sense of fight or flight, which is probably going to get more of a response out of testosterone in a female, which I have no clue, but I would probably agree with that when I just think of just chemical reactions of the body. Because when you get educated like me about fitness, you learn a lot about the natural hormones in the body, how they get adjusted. Now, if you do have a heightened level of testosterone because of abuse, of a history of it, I would say the best thing for that is activity. Because now when you move more and you're breaking down the body, it's going to probably use that extra testosterone and learn to burn it out. And it'll probably be the best way
to regulate
long period of time to regulate yourself back down to more of a normal level.
The other thing I would suggest too is go to a naturopath. I love Brent Cameron over at Aurora Naturopathic. That's where we all go. And he does the whole, blood tests and see what's going on and if anything's wonky and, this, that, and the other thing and figure out what's going on. But does abuse affect the body in ways that can, so chronic fatigue has been linked to abuse. Having all sorts of, issues, with the body have been linked to the abuse because our body learns to live at this level of anxiety and terror for God knows how many years. And so the body doesn't respond well to that. It's like, if you're living under this pressure cooker all the time, the body's eventually going to go, fuck you, I'm done. And then start breaking down. So yeah, I would start with a naturopath and see what's going on and see if they can, see what's happening, what the levels are, and then start talking about getting an exercise program, eating clean food and working out and meditation and, working on self-esteem and things like that. And somebody just mentioned, I regained my self-esteem after going no contact with my family. Yeah, you cannot heal in abuse. If you're still in the situation where you're being abused all the time, you're not going to heal. I mean, you might make strides forward, but you're not going to be whole until you can get those people out of your life.
You have to help yourself before you help anybody else. And the way we look at it, so I've been doing this industry for 20 some years, and I've helped a lot of people that have struggled with abuse, because what is a symptom of abuse? Probably overeating and other negative things that they do to themselves. I always tell people in our program, if you've been through abuse, first thing you have to do is stop abusing yourself.
Yes.
So with food and negative self-talk and all that, because if you're overweight, it's just a symptom from somewhere. So, I mean, we could talk about nutrition and exercise all day, but if the issue is a life issue, like a brain issue, we have to get to the roots of it. So if you do struggle with abuse, don't abuse yourself any farther. Hopefully the abuse is done and over with. So now it's time to take control of your life and live the best life you can. Now, when we start thinking productively like that, that's when we put the diet and exercise in there, and things will start happening in the right direction.
Exactly.
And it's very powerful. So
and also it's like, don't overwhelm yourself. So if you're just out of abuse and you're working on the mental health issue aspect of it, you may not want to start your diet and exercise immediately. I mean, you can start doing little things, but you don't want to overwhelm yourself, because I think that's one of the ways that people unintentionally sabotage themselves, is that they don't meet the goals that, they walk into the gym, and especially on New Year's, the day after New Year's, where they're all like, oh, it's a new year, I'm going to go do, turn into the bionic woman or whatever. And then they set this unrealistic goal. They don't meet the goal, and then they beat themselves up for it. And then they just go, fuck it. I'm done.
So let's talk about goals, because now if we're talking about holiday stuff, we all get motivated after the holidays, right? So in our programs, in our online programs, and obviously the ones we do, individualized for people face to face, it doesn't matter. We talk about the goal. So in fitness, in the lifestyle fitness, people don't want to commit because they're scared of failure. What happens if I don't make it? Well, I will tell people in our program, you have to understand that you're going to fail. You're going to fail 1,000 times. So failure, there's growth in failure. You learn from it. Like
what went wrong? Yeah,
I didn't make it. Okay, so we're not going to stop. We're going to readjust. I fell down and skinned my knees. I'm going to stand up and wipe the dirt off, and I'm going to keep moving. So that's the key with a lifestyle that you're projecting healthy. So fitness, exercise, diet, all that, drinking water, all that stuff. If you're trying to change your life and you're changing your identity of who you are to this fit person versus somebody that wasn't fit, is you're going to fail 1,000,000 times. So when you tell yourself in the beginning that that's going to be okay, you just have to make sure you don't stop. So there's a difference between quitting and failing. And that's one of the biggest things we talk about from the psychological nature in our programs is you're going to fail. I fail with fitness all the time. I've been failing for 20 years. But I never stopped, and that's what gave me the results where I'm at today.
This is what cracks me up. So when we're doing an exercise and we're working these little teeny tiny muscles, this is what I love about Jess, is because we'll be working out and he'll be like explaining. It's like, okay, you're going to be working this tiny little muscle right here, And I'm like, okay. And he's like, okay, squeeze it so you can feel it. Okay, yeah, I feel it. Okay, great. And then it's like you think, oh, this is easy. Nothing, nothing's gonna happen. Everything's fine. And then it's like halfway through, you're like, motherfucker, I cannot lift my arms. What the hell just happened? And he's like, congratulations, you failed. Good job.
There is failure and success.
Yes, which is so weird because okay, so my dad was a Marine and he was crazy. So in his world, failure was not an option. In the Army world, it's like, hey, that's what gets you where you need to go. So fuck y'all. So. Not to put down the Marines or anything, but it is a healthy way to look at it. It's like things are going to happen. And so, for example, and I'm just going to share with you guys, John and I have been struggling with pre-planning. We've been bad, and we've been kind of adding our numbers up as we go, kind of thing. Which we've been good in that we've been maintaining, but that's it. It's like I haven't been able to keep going where I want to go. So in order to get to the next level, I have to get my head out of that mindset of, I can't pre-plan. No, that can't happen. No, my life's too wild. I'm a free bird, baby. Yeah. I'm not going to pre-plan.
Don't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me. You're not the boss of me. Which I swear to God, that's what's been going on in my head.
And actually, so like I'm her trainer, right? Yes. So she said stuff today that I went, that's interesting. So she has been struggling on pre-planning, say, nutrition and stuff, but she's got wonderful results. If we, at some point, we should do the before and after picture, which is amazing.
God! I should get John to
it'll be crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why she struggles right now, because that awesome book she has right there, she's traveling the world to show people and talk about it, right? Which is amazing. If you haven't read it, you have to.
So much fun to do.
So, but she's chaotic because she lives on a plane now. Yeah. So she's struggling with her fitness. But she just said about 5-10 minutes ago, when I'm traveling, I immediately find a gym and I do a day pass. Holy crap, that's expensive. You wouldn't know it's expensive if you didn't do it. I know they're expensive because I do it. So right there was huge brownie points for me. I'm like, okay, at least she's doing still things she needs to be doing. The nutrition might be off a little bit, but she didn't subject to activity. Right. Some people say, well, I can't do the nutrition, so screw it. Yeah. I won't do the activity.
I'll be in Chicago for the week for Christmas and Thanksgiving or whatever. And then they just go, oh, I'm just not going to work out.
So at least you're still doing habitual stuff when you're traveling.
So here's the deal, guys. You can grab an Uber. You know, if it's too cold to walk to the gym, grab an Uber. Do something. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's always an
every
option.
Hotel has some type of hotel
place thingy. I mean, it may not be great. I mean, some of them
better than nothing.
Yeah, some of them I walked into and went, "Really? That's your workout equipment?" Well, okay. But, you know, just do something. Or, you know, the other thing you can do, every hotel has stairs. Walk up and down the stairs. Walk up and down the stairs, you know. There's always a way to get around that. But yeah, I am struggling with the pre-planning. And so I'm trying to get that nailed. In fact, we're going to cook today.
Yeah, and pre-planning is just commitment. It just means I'm committed to this because this is one of my top 5 responsibilities that I need to do for myself today, this week, this month, and you just commit to it. So
exactly. So like if I go to the gym and I'm watching him, right, he takes pictures of his refrigerator, and it's like at the beginning of the week, it's like stuffed with like Tupperware, and that's all of his meals that he's, you know, put out, you know, for every single day. So he knows exactly what he's going to be eating. And then at the end of the week, it's like an empty refrigerator. So
I'll do this today. So I don't know how many people are watching today, but I will take a picture of my fridge right now. And then I'm pre-planning my meals after this, after we do this. And then I'll do a picture of what it looks like afterwards. So my Facebook page is Why Fit Fitness Training. So I'll post the picture of it. Like right now, if you saw my refrigerator, you would ask me financially if I'm doing okay.
Are you okay, man?
I look like a bachelor in college again because my fridge is absolutely empty because I pre-planned all my food last week and it's end of the week. All of it's gone. So I actually went grocery shopping before here right now, and I will pre-plan my food afterwards. So.
Okay, hang on a second. What is pre-planning exactly? Can you explain that?
Pre-planning would be, so if people are notorious for getting up, getting out of the house, their cup of coffee in their hand, they go to work, and then all of a sudden around 9, 10 o'clock, their stomachs are growling, and they're like, oh, I'm hungry. Oh, look at George brought donuts in there. And you smell them, and you have this natural response of hunger going off in your body. So your body says, you need to eat that because I need food. It's a survival mechanism. And then you tell yourself, I really shouldn't eat that because blah, blah, blah. But it's the only thing in front of you, so you eat the donut. So you eat the donut, your sugar response will go off, you feel that addictive qualities in there, but then you have like eater's remorse or guilt that you're like, I shouldn't eat that. So the same thing happens after lunch and after whatever. If you pre-plan, you will never be in that predicament. Right. Just like holiday eating. If you make sure you eat before you go, you probably won't indulge as much. So pre-planning for nutrition is going to the grocery store, buying all clean, healthy foods, planning out your days. Just like you plan everything else in your life, you need to plan your nutrition and your exercise regimen. So if tomorrow you plan to do cardiovascular fitness at 4:30 p.m., make sure you commit to that. And if something makes that astray, that it got bumped, well, now it's 8:30 at night, and you have to do that because you were committed to doing that. So the key to anything in success in life is pre-planning. Yes. And then you just have to execute. So when you try to execute on the fly, you get in trouble because you don't have time and you're in survival mode. You don't want to be. Or at the end of the day, which is more likely, it's like, honey, do we have any olives? I need more fat. Yeah, or something, yeah. You know? It's like, you don't want to do that. Or I'm going to the store now because I have to get coconut oil. You know, it's like, yeah. Pre-planning is Pre-plan it is the key. And it makes it simple. Like you don't have to work that hard, then you just kind of execute it. It's kind of mindless. And that's where I think a lot of people have the mindset, the problem, because it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to take this day, Sunday, to pre-plan my meals and to commit to myself to do that. And I swear to God, like I said, there's that little hippie rebel part of me that's like, fuck you, I'm not going to do that. And it's like, shut the hell up. Thank you for your input. Shut up. Yeah, it's a commitment. It's what the goal is and what the result you're going to get from it. Exactly. Okay. Couple more questions. Are you doing okay? You're surviving? I'm perfect. Okay. Okay. When I started out in veganism, I did tons of research and pre-planning all my meals for 6 days in advance. It was easy to shop and you save money as well. Yes, I totally agree. And then somebody was making a point that, you know, you hear these stories about these, you know, 106-year-olds that drink a quart of whiskey a day and smoke and, you know, how come they're doing that? Well, nature, nurture,
genes count for a lot. I mean, some people just don't ever get sick, ever. And you know, I was going to tell, so here's another good benefit of working out and being healthy and eating as clean as possible. I used to get sick all the time. I used to get colds. You know, my clients would come in and I would get their colds and they would, you know, have stomach issues. And I'm like, please don't give me the stomach flu. I really hate throwing up. Don't do that to me. But, you know, since I've started working out for the last year and a half, I've had one cold, maybe, you know, that's
immune system is boosted.
Huge, like huge. So if you have any, you know, autoimmune diseases, this is a good way to start boosting your immune system and to help you. So, you know, do what you can to make yourself as healthy as possible. Nature, nurture. Some of these people, these 106-year-olds that guzzle a quart of whiskey a day, well, that's just in their genes. You know, I know
it's one person.
It's
if
one
everybody
person.
did that, we'd die of cirrhosis of the liver at 52 or whatever.
Yeah. So it just, you know, it's the DNA. So you know, is there and it's one person out of how many? So think about it. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Or is there anything else that you can think of that you wanted to make sure to impart to people today?
I was just like trying to get the people to think about where the root's coming from. So if you want to be in better shape, or if you're struggling with something like talking about like the abuse in the past and stuff, is for one, we have to love ourselves enough that we stop abusing ourselves. So overeating and eating high sugar, I mean,
or undereating. That's abuse too.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're not giving the body what it needs to replenish and rebuild itself. So your mind's going to not be in the right spot. Your heart, everything will be out of whack. So fitness is almost like a spiritual sense of making sure we're caring for ourselves. So physical and mental wellness is, you know, get out there, be active, and give your body the foods that as a reward that it needs. Like, you are what you eat. So when you look at the nutrition information of what that, you know, piece of pie is, or that ice cream, or whatever that is, I mean, yeah, it tastes good, but really what it is, you are what you eat, and you're going to become that, which is nothing's good. I mean, we look at like society from, say, the last 40 years. If we go down to a mall food court and people watch, you know, sit there and watch, I mean, it's not a good sign. I mean, diabetes is going up, and heart disease is going up. And I mean, this new generation of kids, they're going to be the first generation not to outlive their parents, which is crazy. That's never happened in the history of the world, because everybody's so unhealthy because we don't treat our bodies correctly. So slow stuff down in life, stop eating out, pre-plan your meals, be active. You'll have the best life ever. And if you struggle with something like abuse, it's going to get better. You're going to have better clarity. You're going to think better. Your anxiety levels, your stress levels, everything gets better.
Absolutely. And there's a whole bunch of different therapies you can do for the mental health part of it. So there's schema therapy, which looks at patterns, which is very much similar to looking at the childhood issues, doing the inner child work kind of thing. There's CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, which works on the mistaken beliefs. That's what I do. There's DBT, which is dialectic behavioral therapy, which works on behaviors and thoughts. It's very similar to CBT, but it's more like mindfulness. So there's EMDR, which helps with PTSD and CPTSD. So there's all kinds of help out there. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And don't be afraid to tell your trainer when you're struggling, okay? Because that's what they're there for.
And don't be afraid to fail.
And don't be afraid to fail. Failure is an option, as long as, caveat, you learn from it, you change the behavior, and you keep moving forward. So that's really what I want you guys to do that. Oh, good. You got the book on Audible. Hey, cool. Okay, sorry. Squirrel. All right. Any last bits of advice? Are we good? Are we golden? Are we fabulous?
All right. Go do amazing things.
Go do amazing things, guys. Eat healthy, eat clean, pre-plan your meals, be awesome. And I will own EFT. That's another good therapy too. Emotional therapy. I'll think of it at 2 o'clock in the morning. All right, guys. Love you. Have a great week. Next week we're going to talk about flying monkeys. I wanted to discuss flying monkeys. So we're going to talk about flying monkeys, what they are, because remember, everybody's in a different path.
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to talk about flying monkeys next week. Don't forget the sign up for the Honolulu lecture and book signing tour at the Mercury Eventbrite. I need a head count, guys, because we're 2 weeks out. I need to know how many books I'm going to be packing in my bag so I can figure out what I'm packing. And also the Tacoma one. So there that is. Jess, thank you so much. And where can people find you?
Why Fit Fitness Training online, either our website, but we do a lot of stuff on social media. So like that Facebook page, and always direct message me if you got a question about something.
And Vetadrenaline. He's the guy that does vet. He's the crazy guy that got me into the car. So I donated so that we can actually get a vet in that car, because I'm not doing it again. So So please donate to Vetdrenaline because we need to get the vets into the cars so that they can work on their PTSD. So, all right, that's it. All right, if you want me to come visit your place, please send an email to Chris, K-R-I-S, at Mercury, MURCURI.com. So that's it, but don't send questions there because I'll never see them. So if you want me to come see you, make sure that my manager knows where you want me to go. All right, guys, we got to go. Talk to you later. Have a fabulous day, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Boom.
Boom.